Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Fan Radio. I'm your host, John Myer, along with Dan Palmieri. And before we get to some of the exciting stuff, let's talk about the Eagles' open practice that just happened. I want to say yesterday because we're recording this a day later. And unfortunately, Dan couldn't make it there, but I was live on the scene for reporting. Dan, before we get to some of the topics, not only what I thought about practice, some of the injuries and position battles, but what were your thoughts remotely?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good crowd from what I saw.
Dude, it was like a
50,000.
preseason game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was looked good. I mean, we'll go into detail more, but the offense looked really good. Very impressive. And whether or not that's an indication of their defense being that bad or the offense is going to be seen. But I was really impressed. The one thing that watching all the highlights is kind of what we talked about earlier is that Jalen Hurts looks fast. And for this offense to go, he's got to be fast. And he looked good. He did. Everybody looked really good, to be honest with you.
Dan, before I get into some of the things, because I do have a rundown of things I want to go through, I got you something. All right. Since you couldn't make it. All right. So
Yeah.
they gave out some bags with the Eagles on it. So I got you a bag.
Ah.
Okay. All right. This is for you. And don't forget the nice little cookie cutters they got out, little helmet.
Nice.
All right. All right. But you're going to like this next one. Okay. All right.
All right. Ah.
How about a
That
bird
is
one? Here we go.
nice.
There we go. There you go.
That
So I
is
got you
nice.
one.
I got it for you too.
I'm going to give this to you. If you could give this to Gretchen for some nice peanut butter cookies in the shape.
Ah, that's why. That's a good idea. Thanks, man.
Exactly.
Appreciate that.
Well, if you can't make it, at least they're going to. So we had so many, but you gave us your ticket. So we were down there anyway. That's my appreciation back to it. Now let's talk about some of the things that happened. And I had to write these down, and only because there was a number of things that I saw. One, obviously the crowd, 50,000+. Okay. This was like preseason game. I don't even think that many coming. It looked complete. Only Eagles fans pack it for opening practice. Now they only have like one of 5 times you can, or this is the only time you can. Actually, this is the only time you can see them before the preseason game.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. When they were at Lehigh, you could go like every freaking day.
Yeah, ridiculous. It's the only open practice of the public all year.
Yep. Now, all right, let's talk about some of the things in there. By the way, you mentioned Jalen. Jalen looked great. I mean, his decisions were awesome. His checkdowns, quick reads, he wasn't holding the ball, and he did not look to run every single one and fall to the ground like really slow. He had a nice juke move that I'll tell you what. Now, Obviously, defense can't touch, and you don't know really what would have happened if defense could go full speed. But his little stutter step there was awesome. I mean, the crowd went wild to see it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It looked vintage 2022 where he looked like he was going to go outside and just cut right back inside. And that shows that the knee, the ankle, everything is good structurally on the bottom, so that's good.
It looked real like it healed. Now, the one that I think everybody stood up for standing ovation is Jalen takes the ball. He does a quick little read, fakes you to Saquon, and all of a sudden launches it down the right sideline. There's AJ. The only person that could actually catch that was AJ against Slay, by the way, and he grabbed it down to the 5-yard line. It was so nice to see. I mean, literally, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful throw. I believe he was rolling out too.
Yep.
He did reset the pocket, so it wasn't like he was actually rolling out and moving when he made the throw. But yeah, it was gorgeous. It was looking like things from 2022. Obviously, open practice. I don't want to get too high on it, but it looked good. It looked good.
You're an Eagles fan. We get high on this stuff, and we get disappointed easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. That's what being a passionate fan is.
Exactly. Now, the other person that looked really good, and when the only other person that got just light, I want to say the crowd went wild for Jalen, and the crowd went just a step below for Saquon. Seeing Saquon come out there, 26, and watching him run the ball, dude, he looked like a kid playing his favorite game. He looked so excited. There was a couple up the gut moves that he breakouts. He had a nice throw down the side. I mean, all around, just seeing Saquon not only in green, but how the crowd received him, it was just an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he was a little bit below Jalen that you're saying.
Well, Jalen's got no matter what, he's got our hearts.
Yeah, no. Saquon, from everything we heard, from what we see, he's acting like a kid again. That's great. That's great. On a personal level, that's a good thing. He got a raw deal out of New York, and everything came out with the whole
Hard Knocks.
Yeah, Hard Knocks
Yep.
thing, and it put him in a bad light and everything. It's good. He needs a fresh start. Philly's going to be a good place for him to do that, and I can't see him doing anything but excelling as long as he stays healthy.
Dude, I feel he's going to have a breakout year. I feel I saw Saquon out there. Gainwell was out there. It was just nice to see these guys running. It was nice to see Jalen being able to get the ball out quick and make some of those decisive decisions on getting rid of the ball without running and without trying to hurt himself.
No, absolutely. And I made some comments in our last few episodes about, Kellen Moore being a pass-heavy offensive coordinator, and he is. But what I seem to forget, and what maybe other fans seem to forget, is he did have Ezekiel Elliott in his prime. And he was running for over 1,100, 1,200 yards periodically. So we could very easily see that. And then with Saquon, that Elliott didn't have is, we could throw in maybe, 50 catches.
Yep.
We could throw in more, but I don't think there's enough footballs for more than 50 catches. But yeah,
I agree with you. I think I can see, even if we're at a 70-30 or 60-40 ratio, that Saquon will easily have over 1,100, 1,200 rushing yards.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I'd love to see the over-under on
it. We'll see that maybe Pro Bowl time.
yeah.
Actually, I gotta jump this up real quick. When Jalen was throwing it down at the 5-yard line to go in, and I won't tell you who he threw it to, because we're gonna talk about it. And this was early on in practice. They were shouting MVP.
What was it? August 1st, and we got our MVP vote out there right now.
You're an Eagles fan, dude. We had it before the season started.
Only in Philly, and I love it.
At the end of practice, they were already shouting Dallas sucks. So, I take it both.
I did see that when Goedert called the touchdown, the Dallas sucks chant broke out.
Speaking of Dallas, it was funny. Dallas Goedert not only caught 1, 2, 3 touchdowns in that. He is going to be phenomenal. He's going to be a beast this year, not only with all our wide receivers, having him, Saquon. I mean, I don't want to get too excited here because, obviously we're an Eagles fan and, we're a little skeptic day in and day out of game over game. But I just feel that the team has life.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. They have energy, they have life. And one thing that I was noticing is that last year the offense was stale, obviously. But the offense used motion, they used deception, they used different things that I actually saw Shane Steichen running. And that's a good sign because obviously they made it to the Super Bowl with Steichen. So, I liked what I saw. And I think that the offense is going to excel with Kellen Moore because of the aspect that we saw a lot of design quarterback runs, which was interesting. He didn't do that with Dak, but obviously Dak isn't mobile. So there's going to be an entire section of the playbook that's completely open to him. And I think he's going to have fun with it. I really do.
I would love more options, more kind of design plays, hidden, some just things that I don't want to scripted. We've got 5 plays and everybody knows what the lineup looks like and we're going to go out. I mean, Andy Reid, near and dear to our hearts here in Philadelphia, but that guy could design a freaking play that be so hidden. I mean, hell, they'll play Ring Around the Rosie and get the hell out there and throw the ball. I mean, to be honest with you, I want some more fun. I mean, just hiding the play and doing a little bit more of, kind of, I don't know, just some creative shit going out there. That
Oh
would be
yeah.
what instead of the same 5 plays over and over, run up the gut, we're done. Down the sideline, we're done.
Yeah, so I thought what was really cool was that the one play they ran a read option, handed off inside Saquon. Okay, simple enough. Then the next play, they lined up in the exact same formation. It was a read option. Hurts kept it, rolled around to the outside, and instead of taking like maybe a 3 yard gain, he actually popped it out on a wide receiver screen to Devontae. Now,
Yep.
in that certain play, he didn't get too far, but I mean, it's just another wrinkle that added
Yep. I think
to
they
it.
lost
And
1 yard in that, but still they can. It was
it
down
still
near
looked
the end
good.
zone.
It still looked good. Let's leave it at that.
I know exactly what play you're talking about. We were all amazed by the play and actually how it went out. Now, just because they lost 1 yard doesn't really mean that it's going to not work in real time. You got to remember it's a much faster pace. At the same time, they're being a little reserved and cautious, obviously injuries and
Mhm.
everything, but the play was good. I mean, it can only get better.
Yeah, and I need to hear it from you straight because you saw every single play. Did we see a goddamn wide receiver screen? And please tell me no. Because that's all we saw last year were
I
wide
don't
receiver
think
screens
so.
behind the line of scrimmage for losses or gains of 2.
No, I can't say we did. I mean, I didn't document each and every play. There's actually an awesome guy out there who did document all the downs in the play for it. I'll have to look into it if we do. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let's do this live. Forget it. Let's see if he's got. I got his page up. Let's see.
Well, you bring up that page. I'm going to see where the Super Bowl is this year. And if you tell me they didn't run a screen, I'm booking my flight right now.
Well, the one where they talking about throws a bubble screen to Devontae for no gain. That was the no gain I was talking about. It wasn't
Hmm.
1 yard. Hold on a second. Let's look at the other one. What else we got here? No. Um, I do not see a screen anywhere on the list. I mean, this guy wrote down
Good.
play by play. So no
Good.
wide receiver screen on the list.
All right. Tickets are booked. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay. I got to talk about a couple more things. All right. Britian Covey. Did you know that he was in the slot out there?
I saw him for one play, but how did he look?
Well, he did get the thing. The reports are, and I love this guy's thing, and I'll give a huge shout out to it. He actually picked up a dozen or so yards on a little sit route. Huge shout out. Let me scroll down to the guy. Shamus Clancy, he's the Philly Voice staff. Okay, huge shout
Hmm.
out to you for putting together this. I'll actually share the link on it. But the stats were awesome. Everything looks great in the field. But yeah, Covey, only one play, right? So he sat on
Yeah.
it. And hey, he's not doing much at punt return. So
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they give him a shot at kickoff return. I was actually thinking now that the kickoff is much more accessible. But yeah, I mean, anything to work him in. I think he's a good player. I mean, I don't
yep.
think he's flashy. I don't think he's great, but he's a good player. He had a great season last year, returning punts. But I think if they can make him maybe return some kicks, he can make himself a little bit more valuable to the team because, as we know, they are stacked at wide receiver this year. There's no doubt.
Now you said he was a great one at punt returns last year or kick return. From
He was good
reports,
at
no.
punt returns.
I think what was his average? Like 6, 8 yards, maybe.
No, no, I think he was more than that.
I don't know. Merrill Reese loves the guy. I have no problem with the guy, but everybody is like hounding the guy to get off the thing. We're gonna have to pull up some stats. Why I'm talking here, grab some stats for him if you can on what was Covey's kick return, punt return stats. So the other thing I want to talk about when they were announcing everybody, all of a sudden they said Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson, and they're showing Lane Johnson. And Lane Johnson is wearing 69. Like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't figure this out. Nobody knew what was going on the field. They swapped jerseys. You know, Landon came out, and when he's running out, hey, Landon, he's like, shh, quiet. And then there's Lane with a helmet on, running out with his or whatever it is. And everybody thought, oh, was somebody injured? Were they paying contribute to it or anything like that? And here they're just doing a freaking prank.
Yeah, well, They are the cool thing about, I guess, the entire team, but the offensive line is that they really are like family. I mean, Jordan Mailata had the guys at his wedding, and I saw about a week before training camp started, there was a big slip and slide that they did at I think it was Landon Dickerson's house. Actually, they did a big slip and slide because now he's making all that money. And what was the first thing that he said he bought? A ride on tractor.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars. Let's go buy that John Deere.
Hey, whatever. Stay small, stay, humble, everything. You
Oh,
talked about the wide receiver. There was a note that it's called Wilson Love, Johnny Wilson, a rookie receiver. And Jalen has been caught a couple of times chatting him up during pre-practices and practices on how well he is. So we are stacked at wide receiver. And if a rookie is getting praise from already your MVP quarterback, I'm having a feeling that they're going to have that connection. Not only AJ Devontae, this is definitely an offense that I wouldn't want to mess with.
no, and I was really surprised by the fact that he was getting first team reps in the slot.
Yep.
I mean, he's a big. I think he's a shifty guy. Obviously, you said he's a rookie. He's still got some work to do, but this was a guy that pretty much was buried on the depth chart before OTA started, and now all of a sudden he's getting first team reps. So there's got to be something there to him.
Yep,
No,
definitely. Did you find his stats by any chance?
I did. So Britian Covey, believe it or not, in 2022 was 9.3. Okay, so whatever. 14.4 last year.
I stand corrected. Britian Covey, 14.4. Now, mine would have stand on 2022, but all right. So last year, 14.4, great stats because I'm sure we'd have to find what the league average is for all the time. We kind of work. We need a stats person. Hey, anybody want to work for free as a stats person? Feel free to reach out to us because, we do this for free as well. All right,
well,
we talked.
Have some
go
cookie
ahead.
Cutters for you.
Yeah, right. You know what? I got an extra cookie cutter. We will pay you in cookie cutters, not cookies, cookie cutters. A huge, actually, you know what I want to do real quick before we talk about injuries and position battles? I want a huge shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles for hosting us season ticket members. We actually got to go into the club lounge, free food and drinks and everything for that. You guys went all out for us to be able to see this open practice, to get in there. You fed us, you kept us hydrated, whether it was alcohol, water, whatever your choice was. And then at the end, you give us these awesome cookie cutters. I mean, I'll tell you what, my kids were ecstatic about these and the bags that I have. So, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I saw that you brought your grandson to the game.
Yes.
So treating him young, I like it. So how was I mean, he's little, but how was the experience? That's a really cool thing.
Yep. So the Eagles allow you to bring, if your kid is 2 and under, they don't need a ticket. They don't need nothing to get in. So thank you so much. It allowed us to bring him along with it. We do need a green hat for him. He has a blue one, and I'm not sure if the blue has to go because his dad's a Giants fan, but we're going to convert our grandson to an Eagles fan. He doesn't really actually have a choice. He'll be over here a lot. He loved it. Everybody was so ecstatic on how well he was. He's always a happy kid, adorable as heck. Now, it was very hot, like 100 degrees hot.
Oh, yeah.
Thank goodness for the club lounges that are AC. But he was great the entire time. His first experience, he's been down to the Eagles game. We're going to get him addicted early, and he's going to be an Eagles fan. No choice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the best thing about it is, Eagles, it's a football team, and we take it very seriously. But when it comes down to it, we are family, and that's really cool. That is a really cool.
Exactly. Here, I'll bring up a picture. Do we have a picture? Hold on. I'll see if we can see this one. The nice little lady gave us a little picture. There we are.
Yeah, that's cute. That is cute.
Yep. Proud grandparents. We are on it. Okay. Now, I can't wait to bring him to actually, as he gets older, to more of the games. We'll take him to a preseason game. And in fact, their first home game preseason. happens for with the Vikings. Let's see, what's the
That's
Vikings date?
week 3 of
Yep.
the preseason.
Yep, the last one is at home. Nobody's. You know what? Get rid of preseason. Okay, their next game, their actual next home game. I think what is it in November or something? It's like they don't even have a home game coming up, do they?
No, well, their home game is in Brazil, and then they got their home opener, I think, is, and I'll bring it up right now,
Man, we
against
should
the
have these printed out. Where is our stats person? Let's go.
They are against the Falcons. I don't know how that was a primetime game, but September 16th, they are against the Falcons, and it is prime time. Looks like a Monday night.
Oh yeah, so the regular season one is later. So they don't play that, and then the next one I think is in like freaking November. It's really ridiculous. But so let's move on to real quick. So you talked about the injuries. We did talk about Landon Dickerson, thinking that he was injured because of Lane Johnson, but you've got him listed here on injuries along with Tyler Steen. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so Landon Dickerson, let's preface this by saying these injuries are day to day. They're nothing like, oh God, season's in jeopardy here. Landon Dickerson did tweak his knee, so he's been held out of practice as a precaution. Day to day, nothing major, but obviously with it being just, training camp and preseason, he's a vet. He knows what he's doing, so don't foresee anything there. But Tyler Steen twisted his ankle, is day to day, and the interesting thing about that is that obviously we know he was battling for the right guard spot.
Yep.
And even before the twisted ankle, this new guy who we got from the Jets, not a trade, but we picked up from the Jets when he was dropped. And I'm gonna butcher his name here, Mekhi Becton.
Becton.
We're gonna say Becton. Yeah.
Becton.
Mekhi
Becton. Come in, and if we butcher your name, we apologize.
Yeah. He's come in and he's actually getting the first team reps at guard. This is a guy that played nothing but tackle in his entire career, and he's coming in and playing guard. So it'll be interesting to see that. I mean, they must see something out of him if they're putting him in there and putting him with the starters. I mean, Stoutland isn't just going to put anybody out there. He must see something out of him. And, we're talking about I have him listed here, 6'7" and 362 pounds. That is a big mauler inside. So
heck yeah,
that's a big guy. And if he reminds me a little bit of Mailata in terms of that size, but obviously Mailata's a tackle out there. But that'll be interesting to see how he plays out. I mean, Tyler Steen, second-year guy, when he comes back from this, injury, did he just lose his job? And that's what happens in the preseason.
Well, looking at some of the stats that are put on, there's Tyler Steen, last year, first year, played 11 games. You have listed on there. He started 1 game against Dallas. And then we have Becton, who actually missed 33 of 34 games from 2021 to 2022 due to 2 surgeries on his knee, which is kind of concerning because he hasn't, maybe he's fresh then, right? He hasn't played for a while, started 16 games last year, committing 18 penalties and allowing 12 sacks, tied for worst in the league. I don't know if that's a stat I would be proud of yet, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, good thing is that he won't be a tackle anymore, so he's not on an island. So hopefully that provides a little bit of comfort. But yeah, that's not a good stat.
All right, Dan, you got listed here on cornerbacks and LBs. Let's run through some of them. You got Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah, Isaiah Rodgers looks like he got the start at open practice, but that's pretty much what we've been seeing.
Ringo looked good, though. Summer. He was out there.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was interested to know how he looked. He worked in there with the first team, but, they both are pretty much holding their own.
On play 9, the Eagles go QB draw. It may have been stopped at the line of scrimmage in a real live game settings, but Hurts jukes cornerback Ringo And I did say he looks good,
Oh,
but he got juked and
yeah.
runs up the field. But you can't touch them. So it's very hard to say, yes, he looked freaking awesome, but like it was two-hand touch for defense. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you won't gauge much on tackling, that's for sure.
yeah. Don't touch the red. You touch the red, you're out of a job.
Yeah, no kidding. Doesn't matter if you're first round pick. You touch him, you're done.
I think the fans would totally rip him apart.
But the thing that I find most interesting is, you know, let's say we have a healthy Avante Maddox out there. Okay. DeJean we know is injured. He's still working back. He's a few weeks away. A guy that I didn't think was going to even see the field for the first half of the season, Quinion Mitchell, our first round pick, he's getting the reps in the slot
Yep.
over Avante Maddox, which I'm very surprised of. But from everything I'm hearing is that he looks excellent in the slot. He looks like a natural, which he's never played. He's been an outside corner his entire life. Um, but from what I hear, he's having a little swag out there, giving AJ Brown some shit on there, which is good to hear because there's one thing our defense was lacking last year was any sort of confidence whatsoever. So I mean that looks good. He supposedly looks good. I'm interested to see him. It'll be a change of philosophy because as of recently, I guess you could say they haven't been playing their rookies all that much. So it'll be a good thing to see a rookie getting out there live in-game experience.
I think that's definitely going to help the team as they grow, is mixing the rookies in. I know, obviously,
Yeah.
first team reps, second team reps. It's crucial to have the first team. We saw actually a number of times after Hurts scored. So how the open practice goes is if your team scores, then obviously the next QB comes in and it's like second team kind of reps, but they
Mm.
did mix some of the first and second teams together for the offense in order to give them reps all around. Kenny Pickett was out there. I can't say I was thrilled, to be honest with you. I know obviously as a backup QB, you to look a little less than that, but there was a throw that was totally way out of bounds, right hand side down, and I don't know if it was a misread that he thought he was going to come back and grab it or something, but hey,
Well, you gotta answer this as the fans want to know. Was he wearing gloves?
I don't know.
Pickett is famous for the gloves because his hands are very very small and he has a problem gripping the ball without gloves. So that's what
I
I'm going
don't
to
know.
task
That's
you with.
actually a good question. I'm gonna have to go.
Was the Google search was Pickett wearing gloves?
I should be like, Pickett. Uh, that would be funny. We'll get back to you with those stats. Stat person, come on! I need glasses. Okay, Dan, we got to wrap things up shortly. Let's talk about the linebacker position.
Yeah, linebacker pretty much looks like we're gonna see. I mean, it's preseason, but it looks like Zach Bond is going to be your opposite inside linebacker of Devin White. Um, Never been really a starter. I believe he was an outside linebacker, so it'll be interesting to see how that works in. But Dean, N'Kobe Dean, does look to be getting some first team reps, mainly in blitz packages, because he is a good blitzer. But from what I understand, he was getting torched out there when he was in um, pass coverage, and that's pretty much what we saw all last year when he was healthy. Was he was good in run support, but he just wasn't. Pass coverage was subpar. So
All right. Well, wrapping up this session, as always, let's talk about the wide receivers. And I know you want to talk about Wilson Love, Johnny Wilson on it, but let's run down through our wide receivers, at least for the
yes,
competition portion.
yeah, no, absolutely. Paris Campbell, he still saw some reps in there. John Ross, which is exciting. I mean, the guy was retired last year, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets in there. I mean, this was a guy at the combine who was running 4.2 speed, so he could be, God, I'm gonna say it, Quez Watkins type, but but with better hands. So we'll see how that works in. But yeah, Johnny Wilson could be an interesting name to throw in there. He's a dynamic player. I mean, he was dynamic in college. He didn't really gauge on anybody's sights to be a part of this team, and I don't think the third wide receiver is going to be too big, but he could see some playing time, and so that'll be interesting. Me personally, I think that you're going to see Paris Campbell out there, but it's I don't think the third wide receiver is going to be that big in this offense because I think you're going to see Dallas Goedert split out more in the slot, not so much around the line per se, because he is one of the better pass catching tight ends in the league, and um, Kellen Moore is familiar of the days when he had those elite tight ends. I'm not sure if he was around for Witten. That might have been earlier than him, but Dallas has. I hate saying it, but Dallas has done a good job with tight end packages. As a Philly
Hold
fan,
your tongue. We
yeah, I
don't get
know.
Dallas praises around.
Well, every time we seem to watch a Dallas game, their tight end is scoring like
Oh my
100
God.
yards receiving. So I'll say that. But I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see their first preseason. I don't think that they're gonna play the starters because they're actually doing a
No.
joint practice with the Ravens, and in the past, Sirianni said that the joint practice actually could be harder than the actual game. So we'll see, but I don't think that they're gonna play the starters. But still, you're gonna see those guys on the second string that are fighting for a starting position come up, and I think you're gonna see some Paris Campbells. You're gonna see Johnny Love out there. You're gonna see, probably because the starter was not named, you're probably gonna see some Isaiah Rogers and Keely Ringo out there too. So there's going to be plenty of storylines to watch in this preseason game. It's next Friday against the Ravens. A weird Friday game, but it'll be good to see because the Ravens. I know it's only going to be their second string, but second string on the Ravens is still a pretty damn good team because they are perennial Super Bowl contenders. So it'll be good to see.
Well, speaking of the Super Bowl, we were out there sitting in the seats, and my buddy that was there, I pointed up, and he was there as yourself, 2017 world champion flag. And he goes,
Mm,
I was like, remember being out here for the NFC championship? And he's like, wow, 7 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, 7 years already. Wow. That's
yeah.
definitely, I think we're overdue to have a couple of repeats.
Oh no, absolutely. The team is. I mean, going back to the Andy Reid days, it's hard to believe that they only made what, three Super
Three.
Bowls?
Yep.
Yeah, they had against the Patriots. I think it was.
2004.
Yep, against the
Yep.
Patriots. They went against the Patriots again. They
Yep.
won, and then 2 years ago. So yeah,
Yep.
I mean, for a team that has one of the top winning records, it's kind of hard to believe that they've only been to three Super Bowls, but all those trips to the NFC Championship game and the losses pretty much did us in.
Oh, exactly for that. Okay, so everybody, our next recording, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together. Yesterday was the first time that the kickoff rules were in play, so they're kind of learning and things going around. We're gonna actually discuss the kickoff rules and a little more in depth. And by the way, we're learning them just as much as you. So we want to dive into what people think about it. So if you have comments, want to learn a little bit more around the kickoff rules, let us know because so do we. And then from then on, there's a closed practice that I'll be attending and be joining that. Sorry, Dan can't make that anyway. Darn thing.
Mm,
He's got
mm.
plans already on the thing. You can tell which one of us is diehard. No, I'm just kidding, Dad. Just messing
Yeah, yeah,
around.
I know.
But then I'll report on that on Friday. We'll record and I'll let you know my thoughts around it. Dan, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on the closed practice. That'll be interesting. I mean, the team. I think I could say 50,000 fans at a open practice. I think the excitement's back for sure, and
Yep. Hell
everybody's
yeah.
willing to get this last season out of our heads and move on. And I think it's going to be really, really fun. Fun season. It's going to be great to watch, and hopefully we're watching in February.
Yeah, that'll be a fun time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves though, because the first home game is in Brazil, and we will be discussing how that's going to play out and some of the information. As always, this has
Mm-hmm.
been the Philly Fan Radio. We're your hosts, co-hosts, however you want to put us, but don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify, because guess what? We're out of here.
Thanks, everybody.